Tell me if you've heard this one. You just haven't met the right person yet. For many asexual and aromantic people, these words can feel frustrating, isolating, even dismissive. But the thing is, for an asexual person and an aromantic person, those words can mean both two completely different things and the same thing at the same time. There can be a lot of intersectionality. So I thought it might be helpful to split this into two parts. One focused on the different experiences and then bringing it all together. Plus, I'll also be touching on how these pressures affect other queer identities too. So, let's break it down.
And on this journey, one more love unraveled. I finally learned to love me for me.
Let's start with the asexual perspective. If you're ace, you've likely heard this one. You haven't enjoyed it the way you're supposed to because you haven't met that right person. You might have gotten it from well-meaning friends, from family members, even from strangers. And for someone who's ace, this statement can feel like a subtle invalidation of our identity, right? It's really a microaggression. It's almost like it's being suggested that the reason we experience sexual attraction the way that we do is because we haven't encountered that right person to change that. I know I've heard it plenty of times. A friend once told me, you just haven't met the right person and you haven't had it enough times because it's an acquired taste, like coffee. Now, as an ace person, the issue with that is that it doesn't account for the fact that we don't feel attraction in the way that many people do. It's not about the person. It's about the world that we experience, how we experience attraction, or in some cases, not attraction. The idea that one person can change that really minimalizes the asexual experience as a whole. Now, this isn't to say that asexual people don't have fulfilling relationships. Of course we do. But there's a huge difference between not experiencing sexual attraction or experiencing it infrequently or a little bit of it, and the assumption that meeting the right person will cause everything to suddenly fall into place the way that everybody else experiences it. Now let's switch over to the aromantic perspective. For aro folks, hearing you just haven't met the right person yet hits differently. Instead of the pressure to find sexual attraction, it's the assumption that we'll eventually want romantic love and that we're searching actively for that. And let's be clear, not all aromantic people desire a romantic relationship. For many of us, that pressure to pursue one can be overwhelming. Now, there are some who do pursue romantic relationships, and that's fine for them. But no matter where you fall on that line, whether you want a romantic relationship or not, it's not up to someone else to make that statement for you. It feels like it's ingrained in everybody, isn't it? That there's this idea that everyone should want a romantic relationship. And if you don't, there's something wrong here. For many aromantic folks, though, the idea of finding that right person, someone that we would want a romantic connection with, simply doesn't compute. We don't feel that need, that desire, and that can lead to a lot of feelings of alienation. So when someone says, you just haven't met the right person yet, it can feel like a personal attack on our identity. It doesn't always have to be this way, though. I remember a conversation I had with a friend years back before I figured any of these things out. We've now worked together for almost 7 years, but at the point that this took place, I'd only been at the school that we're both at for a few months. So when we had some professional development trainings to attend, we decided to go out to lunch in between and get to know each other a little bit better. We were talking about relationships and about times in college because both of us were still pretty young at that point and only out of college for about 4 or 5 years. And I remember saying that I never got into things like the hookup culture or that I really wasn't eager to find someone to date. I said something along the lines of there not being anyone who really held my interest in those ways. It was hard for me to admit then because I still didn't understand it myself. but I'm glad that I opened up about it. To this day, she's still one of the biggest supporters I have. And I know that conversation held a lot of significance to her because we both still talk about it today. I hope that you can all find someone that you can be open, honest, and direct with in your own lives. I know I've been very lucky and very fortunate to find the ones that I have. Now, I want to make sure that I'm not leaving anyone out here, because these pressures don't only affect asexual and aromantic people. People in the broader LGBTQIA+ community can feel all of these things too. For example, bisexual, pansexual, non-monosexual individuals, even polyamorous folks. They might also hear things like, you just haven't met the right person, implying that if they were with the right person, they would no longer identify outside of a gender-specific binary or a monogamous relationship structure. There's a certain narrative that can make these identities feel invalid, or that the experiences are somehow transitional. But I want to be clear here. All of these experiences are valid as they are, and everyone deserves to have their identity and attractions respected. Simple as that. But then what about for ourselves? Can we hope to find that perfect someone? Here's my personal opinion on that. It's your journey, your life, your experiences, and your relationships. Do I believe in soulmates? To an extent, sure I do. I believe that things happen for a reason, that there's times where we are exactly where we're meant to be there for that chance meeting. But I also believe that a soulmate doesn't have to be romantic, and it doesn't have to be exclusively one person. Friends can absolutely be soulmates. People in polyamorous relationships can have more than one soulmate. There's no limit on how many soulmates you find. But something I personally don't believe, and this is again just my personal opinion, but I don't believe that people are ever going to be perfect for you in the sense that many people think that they're supposed to be. What makes someone perfect and makes them a perfect companion isn't some checklist of qualities that they have to possess. What makes them perfect isn't the idea of who they are. It is who they are and what they mean to you. You don't shape the idea of perfect. They do. They become perfect in your eyes because their being their authentic self around you, however that looks, opens your eyes to see them that way. So no, I don't believe that people are perfect when you meet them. People are humans, flawed, imperfect, hopefully trying to do better. Just like it's unfair of others to place the normative expectations on us that we talk about here on this channel, we too cannot put that on other people. We can't place our idea of what someone else should be onto them, just like we wouldn't want it done to us. Remember how I mentioned a few videos back that John Green is my favorite author? I want to share a line from his book Paper Towns that's always resonated with me about this. What a treacherous thing to believe that a person is more than a person. Challenging the assumption that there's only one right way to live, especially in terms of a relationship, is really important. Asexual and aromantic people, along with anyone else who doesn't conform to a particular relationship model, need to be able to exist without this unspoken pressure to find that right person, to find their one. Whether we're talking about romantic partners, sexual attraction, or just how we relate to people in general, there's no one-size-fits-all solution to how relationships should look. We need to start embracing a variety of experiences and stop pushing the idea that only one kind of connection is the correct connection. Now, speaking of challenging these norms, if you're looking for a more in-depth conversation about these topics, I highly recommend the Ace Aro Relationship Guide by my friend Cody Daigle-Oriens, who you might know as the creator of Ace Dad Advice. In this book, Cody delves into all of these ideas, providing practical advice for aromantic people, asexual people, and their partners on navigating their relationships. It was actually this book that inspired me to make this video today. I recently did a review of the book, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check that out. And please, while you're there, consider supporting the author who runs the website, Liza Achilles. Unfortunately, this past week on her Instagram, she posted that her government contract was terminated, just like countless others during this current administration. Please show her some love and support in these trying times. In fact, if you join her Patreon, you'll actually find her review of my own debut book, Limitless, Poetry of an Aromantic and Asexual Journey. It's a personal exploration that takes you through the trials and tribulations of my journey, from confused teenager to discovering, learning about, eventually embracing my aromantic and asexual identities. Check out your local indie bookstore and see if they have it. If they don't and they can't order it for you, I would suggest checking out bookshop.org. That website allows you to actually choose an independent bookstore to sponsor so that they get a percentage of the purchase. So as we wrap up today, I want to hear from you. Whether you're asexual, you're aromantic, you're somewhere else in the LGBTQIA plus community, or you're someone who's just looking to learn. How have you dealt with this kind of pressure? What's your experience with hearing you just haven't met the right person? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who you think might relate, and subscribe for more content like this. And as always, don't forget to comment. Your experiences and insights are so valuable to me and this entire community. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.